Okay, I shouldn't say this. It's not the right place to talk for me of this. The sea level rise in the Mediterranean is 1-2 millimeters per year now. We had 15 centimeters during the last century, okay? And in Italy, I think I was probably the first who brought in Italy the results of the Environmental Protection Agency of the United States. They made the first reports on sea level rise effects. At the time, there were several scenarios. The lowest was for 2,156 centimeters. The highest was 3 meters 45. Okay. Passing the time, these values reduced gradually. As far as we study sea level rise, this scenario is lowering. Now the last one is rising again. But if you make the scenarios from the early 80s, the first scenarios, to 5 years ago, you have a line like this, and you should say that sea level rise will invert his trend if you consider this then. Nevertheless, it's a real problem. Till now, with these values, we do not have effect in Italy. We have several coastal plains where the subsidence is 1, 2, 3, 5 centimeters per year. Okay, Ravenna, probably you know, has lowered more than 1 meter. And this is much more than sea level rise. I made a computation in some sites in Tuscany, adding the sea level rise with the subsidence, and I consider that applying the equation, which is the Brun rule, you probably know that, I consider 20-25% of the sediment lost is due to sea level rise and subsidence. And the remaining is because we have no more input from the rivers. This is the main reason for beach erosion. We had expansion of the coast in Italy until mid of the 19th century because of the deforestation in the hills and the mountains, land reclamation, lot of riverbed quarrying, dams, and so. For instance, the river passing from Florence and Pisa brought during historical times 4 million cubic meters of sediments. Now it's bringing almost anything. We lost 1 kilometer and 300 meters of coast in that area, 20 meters per year of erosion. The main reason is reforestation, which is good, but it's a problem for the coast. There is a conflict in Italy between maintaining the rivers, preventing the floods, preventing landslides. All this material goes to the coast. So you have a conflict between people living on the coast and people living inland. In Florence, we had a flood in the 66. We want to dredge the river to lower, but all this sand is not brought to the coast because it's too expensive. This creates a problem to the coast. I think really that it's impossible to compensate the needs of the coast with the needs of the interior land. This is a big issue. In Italy, where we have a strong population along the river, it's a really problem. The studies I have seen along this coast, most of them consider as offshore sand as the unique sediment input to the coast. I've seen nothing till now, but I have seen very, very little concerning what is the impact of river damming, for instance. Looking on Google Map, I have seen that there is a river near here with 2 dams. I don't know if they have some effect on the nourishment of the coast or not. This is another problem. For us, it's a real problem. For another example, in Italy, I have no time to show it. You see that the economic development in Italy started from the north and gradually shifted to the south. Also, the railway started from the north and went to the south. If you compare the railway construction, the dam construction, starting from the north and gradually going to the south, and the erosion, they have the same pattern. Erosion started in the north of Italy and arrived 50 years later in the south. This demonstrates that the erosion in Italy is the result of human activity, of industrialization, of construction of houses, of roads, railways, and so on. That's why I say you must learn from our mistakes, because from the landscape point of view, you are very young. Most of your land is prone to be eroded, to feed the beaches, and you have no coastal structures. So you must study very well what we have done, not to repeat the same mistakes, not because you have nothing to learn from us.